and we'll click where it says recruitment. So in the very last column in the middle where you see HR and talent on the right-hand side, we'll click recruitment.
My screen was in the way. Recruitment.
Okay, here we are. So under the setup menu, like I mentioned, this will allow you to configure some of the components that flow over into your job requisition, as well as the candidate profile and when you're actually utilizing the recruitment module. We'll pretty much just go down the menu since I know we're doing a full overview. Definitely feel free to ask questions and interrupt me if I'm going too quickly. Definitely let me know as well. So we're going to start under application form. In the first section under application form is the required field. Basically, this is where you would be provisioning your application form as far as how you want it to be visible to your candidates. The application form would be available for your candidates to complete through the Career Center, which would be where your job postings actually are housed. And it'll make more sense, or we'll see more of that as we go through the setup. So for required fields, you're pretty much under each section, you're going to select what fields you want to appear on the application. You have the option to either leave it toggled on where it says show fields, or you can toggle it off. If it is turned on, then you also have the option to mark it as required, which means it would be a field that the candidate has to complete in order to save the application. So email is the first one. You won't be able to turn that off because that's going to be the means of communication between you and the candidate. So you definitely want them to enter their email address. But mobile number, home phone number, address are all optional. Anything on this page, and as we go through the setup, there's going to be a save button at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So if there's any changes that you want to make as we're going through the overview, by all means make them, but just make sure that you save it so it doesn't go back to the default setting.
Veronica, quick question.
Under personal information. Yes,
when
ma'am.
you want to save it, should this be blue or should it be gray?
So if you want it on, it's going to be blue. So that means if it's blue, it would appear on the application form. If you do not want it to appear, then you would toggle it off, and then that's when it would appear gray.
Like that.
And then I think there was another question.
Yes, Veronica, this is Christy. Quick question. Are we able just to use our own employment application, or do we have to use this platform, this setup here?
You would want to use this setup only because this is what's going to flow into the other component when you're building up your job requisitions or your job posting. Like I mentioned, this is like the background of it.
Okay.
Based on what you have on your application form, it may or may not be able to capture those items. So maybe after we go through, you'll see if there's something that isn't included. Like, is there something specific on your application form that you have that you would want to retain or make sure is included?
I mean, it's pretty much a basic application. It's just if we have to, I mean, obviously we're looking to partner with ADP for a long period of time, but if we ever needed to extract any data or a person's data, right now we have the ability to just go pull their 2 or 3 page application and we have the full thing. Is there a way to, how would you, if we needed to pull an employment application for whatever reason to send to unemployment or to do something, how would we extract that data from here to be able to send that? We just had an instance where we needed that for disputing somebody's unemployment, and we had the application, we had the offer letter, we had all that stuff. It was all in a document, where this is kind of all spread out. So how would we extract that if we needed it again at some point?
So I know when you have your candidates and they apply, under the process menu where recruitment is, there's a tab that's labeled candidates, and each candidate has a candidate profile I would need to confirm if it's an option to download their application information, because basically their candidate profile is going to house all that information. It'll have their responses to the applications. It'll have and capture all the status changes as far as, when they're interviewed, the communication templates that are sent out that, we would set up here to notify them that you want to interview them, that you want to offer. So I think it kind of captures that. I'm just not sure right off if it gives you an option to download it. I would need to confirm that.
If you can do that, that would
Like
be
if
great.
it would download in it sounds like a PDF version or something like that.
Correct.
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
that's what I
Let me
needed to
check on
send
that
over
real
to
quick.
our law firm, and so I just wanted to make sure. Again, we hope that we don't have to use that option very often, but if or when we would need that, that would definitely be something that would be important. So, or to know how to do that, so we're not screenshotting a bunch of different data to try to send over. We just have it all together. So, if you can check, that would be great. I appreciate that.
Right. Yep, I sure will. Give me just a moment. I'll review if that is an option. Okay, and just bear with me a few more moments. I'm getting that confirmed on my end for us. Okay, and thank you for your patience. I just wanted to go in and actually confirm. So I needed to view an actual candidate profile that was set up. So from the candidate's profile, there actually is an option to view as a PDF, and it's going to capture all of their information. So it would be the application information, their personal information, if they included educational background, their employment history. So all of that information can be downloaded into a PDF version.
Okay, great, awesome. Thanks for checking on that for me.
Yeah, no problem. I just needed to pull up an actual candidate to see if the option was available. But yeah, I see it available on the right-hand side. The thing with the overview today, because we don't have necessarily everything built out for you, some options or features are only available once they're set up. So like in this case, once you receive a candidate or someone applies, then you'll be able to see all the features. Which is why I had to, locate an account that had one. What I always encourage clients, and we're not quite at that point, but when we get to that point, is once you set up and we go through how to create like a job posting, to actually create like a mock posting and just apply as a candidate, just so you'll be able to see all those features and have it available, and then you'll be able to touch everything and see what functions are available, and you'll be able to see it from the candidate perspective as far as going through the application process, and then you'll have them on the candidate profile and you'll see all the actions and options that are available.
Perfect.
Yes, ma'am. So jumping back over with you guys. Yeah, so the next section would be whether or not you want resumes to be required for the job application. And a lot of this is just selecting the radio button or toggling it on. With the resume being toggled on, you're going to be able to decide how candidates can provide their resume. So if you only want them to attach it, if you want them to attach it or have the option to text, or if you want them to have the option for attachment or to enter the information as a part of the professional categories, which is directly below under the professional background section. And again, that would be the same as the top part of the application. You'll be able to include which fields you want to be shown on the application, and you have the option to toggle it off. Now, I know originally there was a question, at what point do you save? The save button is at the bottom of this view, and each section that we go through will have its own individual save button. So you can save at any point. If you're only customizing or changing certain features, you can come back to save it, because although you may set it up now, this is like a living document, so you can always come back and make changes to, flow with what your company needs at the time. The additional information section is the same as well. You'll be able to enable what fields you want to show. That's salary information, as well as notes. And then you can mark which ones are required. If you mark it as required, again, that just means that the candidate actually has to fill it in order to save the application. So salary, note, and referred by are available there. And then you see that save button. Now, the form won't look this way. We'll actually have a chance to review the application form when we're setting up and reviewing the Career Center. But again, this is the setup menu, so this is kind of where you just configure these things. When you actually create your job posting, there are items that you'll still be able to customize for that individual job posting. So think of these as default settings, and then you still have the option to customize when you're in the process to actually set up your job reg or job position.
And when are we slated to go into the Career Center and start setting up jobs and transitioning that way?
I was informed that we needed an overview, so my thought process was to just go through all these features. As far as setting up the Career Center, that's about midway down here. The job posting, as far as creating or going through the process of creating the job posting, is under the process menu. If you guys wanted to move forward to that, it's really at your discretion as far as what you want to see and what you would like covered on the call, because I'm here to support you guys.
Whichever is the best process.
If you have any questions or if anything stands out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just whatever's the best process to get set up, so we know what steps we need to do, and we know how to do it, so that we can, because we're obviously going to be transitioning from a different platform. So I'm also trying to gauge when I need to cancel the other platform. So just trying to get an idea of a time frame. But we just keep going through what we need to do here and each step, and we're good with that.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So the application form, we'll jump back in. I think I can touch on the important areas, and then we'll transition for you guys. Sure. The next section under application form is just the voluntary self-identification, and I'm back at the top on the left-hand side. You can just select the next section under application form. I think your application form section collapsed on the left side, so you can expand it by clicking on that arrow. Okay, and then we're just on the voluntary self-identification information. And just as an overview, for the most part, when you're under the application form, you're basically just picking what you want to have on it. So if you want to include voluntary self-identification, by default, it's already enabled. And then you have the option to select what information is going to display. So under fields, you have gender and race and ethnicity, or gender, race, and ethnicity, along with veteran status and disability status. If you want that one, that's the radio button you would select. And then you would just answer the questions at what's best or what's most applicable for your company. The question bank is the next section. This is important because basically this is the bank of questions that you'll have available to choose from when you're in the process of creating your requisition or your job posting, and the questions that you want to appear on the application form. So for you guys, it looks like there's 29 questions already built out or available. These are questions that are supplied by ADP, At the top of the page, you have the option to filter, and you can search by the category. If there's certain categories that questions fall under that you want to pull those questions in, you can check and search by the status of the question, whether or not it's active or inactive. You can click where it says add if there isn't a question in the bank that you have or that you use. When you click add, you'll have the question text. You'll be able to type in the question. You can select the question category that the question would be aligned with. Again, when you filter and search, it kind of just groups questions by category, so it makes it easier to select when you're setting up your job posting. If a category is not there, you can click where it says add category, so you can create your own custom category, and then you have the answer type, how they're going to answer the question. So you have a comment field, which is basically just a text box. You can select date field. Drop list and multi-select menu are the same, where it might be a multiple choice selection that they can pick. It'll give you the option to enter those options if that's the answer type you select. And then, of course, you have like date field, number field, percent field, yes, no button. So you can, pretty much set up your question the way that you want. Underneath that, you're going to select how the question should be used. If it's going to be used as needed in the requisition, which would just make it optional, it's an option in the question bank, or if the question must be answered based on the applicant. So if it's an internal applicant, external applicants, or if you're accepting applications from both internal and external, and the question is mandatory. When you make a question mandatory, then that means it will automatically appear in your job posting already before you actually select any additional questions. So if you don't want the question to appear automatically on each, let's say the first option is internal applicants must answer the question. Basically, that means if you mark that as they must answer the question, any job posting where you're still accepting applications from internal candidates, that question will automatically be added to the job post and it won't be able to be deleted.